Hey, so Google just wrapped up their keynote at Google I/O, their annual developer conference, and they made two announcements that I think are going to change things significantly for a lot of people, and not in the way the keynote made it sound. I want to walk through what they announced, why they announced it, and then zoom out to talk about what I think the real consequences are, not just economically, but cognitively. Because I think there's something happening to us that now these companies are willing to talk about, and it's time something did. So let's start with the first announcement. Google search, as we know it, is done. For a while now, Google has been competing with ChatGPT for users. ChatGPT has something like 900 million weekly active users. That's close to a billion people. And Google was not going to just sit back and let that happen. So they started by adding AI overviews at the top of search results. Then they added AI mode, which let you ask follow-up questions within the overview. And for a while, there was a balance. AI overviews sat on the top, and the traditional 10 blue links sat below. People who wanted quick answers could use the AI. People who wanted to browse could just scroll down and do things the old way. That balance is gone now. AI mode is becoming the default. The traditional search box, the one-liner where you type a query, is becoming multi-line. They are turning it into the conversation interface. The 10 blue links are being pushed further and further down. And eventually, I think they'll just disappear entirely. Google search is becoming ChatGPT with the Google logo. But that's not even the part that concerns me the most. The second announcement is the one that really got me thinking. Google is making it trivially easy to build apps. Right now, if you want to build an Android app, you install Android Studio. You write the code, you compile it, you submit it to the Play Store, it gets reviewed, it gets approved, and then users can install it. That process has friction. That friction is what created an industry. Millions of developers, small studios, indie creators, they build livelihoods around that friction. The difficulty of making an app was the mode. If you could do it, you had something valuable. Google is draining that mode now. They have a tool called AI Studio where you can just now type a prompt and it generates a functional app. No Android Studio, no code, no compilation, no review process, just a prompt and an install button. And they're doing something similar with search itself. They are adding interactive app support to AI mode. So if you search for something like calorie tracker, instead of now showing you a list of apps to download, it might just generate a calorie tracking app right there in the search results. Interactive, personalized, no download required. Do type what you need, the AI builds it, you use it, no middleman, no developer, no app store. Now think about what that means for a second. If you are an indie app developer, someone who makes simple utility apps, productivity tools, lifestyle apps, your entire business model just evaporated. Not gradually, not over 5 years. The foundation of what you do, building small useful apps and selling them to people who need them, is being replaced by a prompt. Google is the discovery layer. People find apps through search, and now Google is saying, why would you download someone else's app when you can just build your own right here? And it's not just Android. Apple will copy this. They will bake it in Siri or in partner with someone. The entire app ecosystem, as we have known it for the past 15 years, is going to change. The sophisticated stuff, the high-end games, the complex professional tools, those will probably stick around for a while. But the simple ones, the ones that app developers, indie developers, they made, those are prompt away now. And this extends beyond apps. Think about media publishers. A few years ago, you could start a blog, get it indexed on Google News, drive traffic through search, run some ads, and make a living. That model is already dying. Google's KI overviews give you the answer without clicking through in the article. The publisher gets no traffic. The ad revenue disappears. And it's not just small publishers. The big ones are struggling too. Major publications are now locking everything behind paywalls because the free traffic from search is drying up. But how many people are going to pay for 10 different subscriptions? The publications with big budgets and loyal audiences will survive. The rest will fold. So what's left? If you can't build apps because Google builds them for you, and you can't publish content because Google summarizes it for you, and you can't drive traffic because Google answers the question before anyone clicks the link, what are you supposed to do? This is what I mean when I say Google just killed the small business. Not through malice, through convenience. through the relentless pursuit of giving users exactly what they want as fast as possible. And users do want this. That's the uncomfortable part. Users want the AI to build the app. Users want the AI to summarize the article. Users want the instant answer. Convenience wins. It always has. But convenience has a cost. And I think the cost is something we are not talking about nearly enough. So let me zoom out for a second and talk about what I think is actually happening was. There's this thing that's been bothering me for a while, and the Google I/O announcements brought it into sharp focus. They are becoming permanent bullies. And I don't say that as an insult, I say it as someone who is guilty of it himself. Think about what you used to happen when you encountered a problem. Let's say you are a developer and you hit a bug. Before AI, what you would do is you would go to Google, you would search for the error message, you would click through several results, you would read different Stack Overflow answers, you would compare approaches, you would try to understand why one solution worked and another didn't. And in that process, you would learn something, not just the fix for the bug, but the underlying concept. The bug was an excuse to learn. That fiction was the education. Now what happens? You copy the error message, paste it into ChatGPT, and it gives you the fix. You paste the fix into your code, it works, and then you just move on. You didn't learn anything. You didn't know why it works. You don't know what caused the bug. You don't understand the underlying system any better than you did before. You just scroll the answer, and the next time you hit a similar bug, you will paste it into ChatGPT again. Because why wouldn't you? It's faster, it's easier, it works, and this isn't just coding, it's everything. Long document, summarize it with the AI. Don't read it. It's a research paper, ask the AI for key findings. Don't engage with the methodology. The recommendations, well, ask the AI again what it's about. Don't read the book. Complex decision, ask the AI for the pros and cons. Don't sit with the uncertainty and think it through yourself. Every time we outsource a problematic task, we get a little weaker at that task. Not immediately, not noticeably, but gradually. The neural pathways responsible for critical thinking, for deep reading, for sustained attention, for sitting with a difficult problem and working through it patiently, those pathways are not being exercised. And like any muscle that isn't used, they atrophy. And here's what really gets me about the Google announcements specifically. They are not just giving us a tool to be lazier, they are removing the occasions where you would have to think. It's one thing to have a calculator available when you need it. It's another thing to live in a world where every math problem you encounter is pre-solved because before you even see it. Google isn't just giving us AI to use when needs, they are making it the default for everything. Search, apps, content, information. The default path now goes of the internet now goes to an AI that does the thinking for you. And I keep coming back to something that I think crystallizes the problem perfectly. Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, recently became a father. He tweeted that being a dad has exceeded Paul's expectations. And he also said something really telling. He said he doesn't want his kid to grow up on an iPad. He wants his son to play in the dirt. He said that he would rather be on the late end of adopting skills for a study, not the early. Explicitly said that watching kids who can't have their iPads taken away from them concerns him. And I respect that. I think that's a good instinct. That's a father who understands the risks. But here's my question. What about the rest of them? Sam Altman's kid gets to play in the dirt. Sam Altman's kid gets a dad who understands the tech well enough to shield him from its most effects. Sam Altman's kid won't grow up forming emotional bonds with a chatbot that's been scientifically optimized to be as validating as possible. But there are a billion other kids whose parents use ChatGPT. A billion kids whose parents don't know what reinforcement learning from human feedback needs, who don't understand that the friendly bot their kid has been talking to is trained to agree with whatever the child says because agreement drives engagement and engagement drives revenue. What's the plan for those kids? And the same question applies to Sundar Pichai. Would he give unrestricted Gemini access to a young child he knows? I doubt it. These people know what their technology does to cognition. They know it because they are shielding their own families from it. And yet, they are pushing it into every classroom, every search result, every device, every interaction. And this is where I think we need to be really honest about what's happening. These companies are caught in a competitive race. ChatGPT has 900 million active users. Google can't afford to fall behind. If Google slows down, if they pause to think about the competitive impact of what they are building, There is becoming the next Nokia. Sundar Pichai does not want to be the CEO who let Google get disrupted the way Nokia got disrupted by the iPhone. That's a case study in business school. That's a legacy of failure. So they keep pushing. OpenAI keeps pushing, and Anthropic keeps pushing. Because if any of them slows down, the others take the market. It's a prisoner's dilemma. Everyone knows the technology is causing harm, but nobody can afford to be the first to stop. And the money makes it first. Google is what, worth $3 or $4 trillion. OpenAI is valued at over 800 billion. Anthropic at 350. When you have that kind of capital, you can reshape user habits. You can burn millions of dollars a day subsidizing a free product until people can't imagine life without it. And then, once the habits are set, once the dependency is established, you start making money. That's the playbook. That's always been the playbook. And I understand it. I understand the incentive structure. I understand why Sundar Pichai can't slow down. I understand why Sam Altman keeps making announcements about AI replacing jobs even when the evidence doesn't fully support it. The narrative keeps the money flowing. The money keeps the company alive. The company keeps building the product. The product reshapes user behavior. The reshaped behavior justifies the next round of funding. It's a loop, and nobody inside the loop can afford to question. But someone has to, because the implications are real. So I was talking to a relative the other day who works at a large company. They told me that their company is rewriting their standard operating procedures every 2 to 3 months because new models keep coming out. Every time a new model drops, the old SOPs are obsolete. Nobody knows what is the true potential of these tools. Nobody knows what the best practices are. Everyone is in a flux. We are in a transition period. We are not in the post-AI world yet. We are at crossroads, trying to figure out what all of this means. And I think during this transition, we have a window to be intentional about how we use these tools, a window to decide as individuals what we are willing to outsource and what we are not. Because once the habits are set, once the dependency is deep, it's very hard to go back. Think about the industrial revolution. Before industrialization, they once did the physical labor, lifting, carrying, building. Their bodies were strong because they had to be. Then machines came along and did the physical labor for us, and our bodies got weaker. And now we have gyms. We have to deliberately exercise to maintain the physical fitness that needs to come naturally from daily life. The same thing is about to happen to our minds. AI is going to do the cognitive labor that used to keep our brains sharp. Reading, researching, problem solving, analyzing, deciding. And our minds are going to get weaker. Not because the technology is bad, but because we will stop exercising the muscles. And just like we needed gyms for our bodies, we might end up needing cognitive gyms for our minds. Deliberate practice to maintain the critical thinking, the patience, the attention, the ability to sit to the hard problem and not reach on the edge. And here's the thing that I think people miss. It's not just about intellectual performance. It's about who you are. Your mind shapes your relationships. Your patience shapes how you treat people. Your attention shapes what you value. Your ability to think critically shapes the decisions you make about your life, your career, your family. If all of that atrophies, it doesn't just make you a worse worker, it makes you a worse person, a worse partner, a worse parent, a worse friend. And these companies are not thinking about that. They are thinking about market share. They are thinking about weekly active users. They are thinking about whether they will be the Nokia of this era or the Apple. So what can you do? I think the answer is simple. Even if the execution is hard, be intentional. Use the tools, absolutely. They are powerful and they are useful and they are not going away. But be deliberate about what you outsource and what you keep for yourself. Read long articles, not just summaries, the actual article itself. Sit with a difficult problem before you ask the AI. Let yourself be bored. Let yourself struggle. Let yourself work through something the slow way. Not because the slow way is better, but because the slow way exercises the muscle. Because at the end of the day, you are just another user to these companies. They care about your engagement, your data, your subscription. They don't care about your mind. That's your responsibility. Let's use it or lose it. And I don't want any of us to lose it because that's what makes us human. Thanks for watching.